I came across a publication the other day and I realized that we had not done a video book review on it. And it's probably because a lot of people don't really use it anymore. And its real value is not in the kind of academic content. Anyway, the publication is called Tibetan Sacred Art, The Heritage of Tantra, and it's by Detlef Ingo Lauf. Lauf did a number of art books on Himalayan and Tibetan art in the 70s, and I think possibly into the early 80s. I'm not sure with his other publications. Some are in German. This publication was first done in Germany in 1972. It wasn't translated into English until later, and then the first English publication was done by Shambhala Publications in 1976. It's a large hardcover book, and it has an interesting contents because remember, I mean, if it's published in 72, then it has to be written in 1970, 71, or even compiled earlier. So the contents list is it has a foreword, but then it also has, for the Canadian viewers out there, it has an introduction by Herbert V. Gunther. Now, Herbert V. Gunther himself, I believe, was German. But he actually taught at the University of Saskatchewan in Saskatoon in the late 60s, 70s, and into the 80s. Now, after the introduction, then we have a publisher's preface, then we have Nature and Origins of Lamaism. So this just shows you how dated this kind of publication is when they're calling Tibetan Buddhism Lamaism, which is really coming out of the Chinese Lama Chao. Then we have Form and Secret Revelation in Tibetan Art, the representation of Buddhism Bodhisattvas, the noble art of writing. So this has to do with calligraphy and the making of texts. Then we have Mystic Experience in Tibetan Art, Visionary Unfolding in the Mandala, the manifestations of the guardian deities, Great Masters and Saints in Tibet, and then a bunch of technical information after that with some bibliographies and an index. Now, is the book of real value because of its textual academic content? Sure. It's important to sometimes go back and just see where people were coming from 40 years ago, or 50 years ago, or 60 years ago, depending on their training and how old they were. I'm not sure how old Lauf was when he did this book or this publication. Now, the real value here is it's just a little treasure box of art, and not all of the art from this publication is up on the HAR website, and some of it is spread around the world. Even one piece out of the publication is in the Rubin Museum of Art, and then another couple of pieces are in the Museum of Culture in Basel, Switzerland, and then a number of the pieces we don't know where they reside, in what private collections or in what's possibly small museums or large museums even. But there's some real treasures in this publication, so it's worth looking at some point, and it's worth looking at some of the chapters and just opening them. And just see whether or not you find it useful for how you are looking to contextualize the art, or how you're looking to contextualize Tibetan Buddhism within the framework of painting and sculpture. And then this book might actually be helpful in some ways. So we'll leave it there. It's just a great book, lots of good art. You can subscribe, you can join HAR on Patreon, and you can also make a donation on the homepage of Himalayan Art Resources.